On this week's edition of 21 Questions, Maddie and I pick the weak spots on the Chiefs roster after the initial 53, plus way more of your questions brought to you by Macadoodles.
You are listening to KC Sports Network, the #1 podcast network for today's Kansas City sports fans. With former players from your favorite teams, informed perspectives, and former insiders, this is the place for you. KC Sports Network is proudly presented by Emprise Bank, your partner in possible.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of 21 Questions brought to you by our good pals at Macadoodles. Y'all have been hearing me talk about Macadoodles for a year and a half now on this very network and how we needed to bring one to Kansas City. And then we found out that one was coming to Kansas City. And now I am very happy to announce that Kansas City location. We're looking at the first week of October for an opening in Lee's Summit, Missouri. Keep an eye on that location.
It'll be open when I come to town.
Oh, man,
Buddy.
Maddie, I'll tell you what. If it's open when you come to town around that October 14th, 15th area, we're spending an entire day in Macadoodles just at the tasting room. So
listen, everybody else is going to be golfing.
Oh,
we're just going to Macadoodles.
We're just going to Macadoodles. Yes. But if it's not open, maybe we drive over to Jefferson City, who is also opening a Macadoodles at the end of this month, end of September here. They are opening one up as well. It is a big month for Macadoodles, and we are so excited to have them on board. I'm so excited to get more Macadoodles around here, and I am so excited to talk to my good pal, Matty Lane, my friend. How are you? How's everything going? Are you as excited about Macadoodles as I am?
I am now. Like, here's the thing. It's hard for me to get a trip to Macadoodles because I'm already, flying halfway across the country. Then I have had to go drive somewhere, like a long ways, to get there. But the fact that this is going to be open when I am coming back, hopefully when I'm coming back in there in the earlier middle part of October, it'll be open. It'll be right around the corner for me. I could not be more excited to shoot over to Macadoodles when it is there. And I'm happy to be sitting here with you, buddy. I like to do 21 questions. It's fun to answer the questions. It's nice to get to do it with your beautiful face. And if anybody watching the video sees me look off screen, I'm watching college football because it is like the actual legitimate kickoff of week 1 of college football the night when we were, recording this. We're watching Luther Burden do some crazy stuff. I mean, they can't throw the football to him, but we're watching him do some crazy stuff once he gets the ball. Penn State's doing Penn State things. Like it's been a fun little day of football here. So, I'm kind of multitasking right now.
Matty wasn't a complete sicko in week 0 of the college football season. Maybe he was.
I watched a lot of football.
Yeah, but no, it's great to have that. And that means we're on the brink of NFL football, which means that we have a lot more football questions for 21 questions. These come from the KCSN Discord. If you are not a subscriber to KCSN, it is $30 a year or $5 a month. We are going to be doing daily breakdowns for you. There's going to be all kinds of content, and you can get into Discord, ask questions for 21 questions. But before we get into that, the wait is over. You can now bet on sports in the great state of Kansas. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is officially live in Kansas just in time for football season. That means betting legally on the same game parlays. I can't wait. Spreads, money lines, and more anytime and anywhere across the Sunflower State. To celebrate, DraftKings is giving new Kansas customers a can't-miss offer. Bet just $5 on anything and get $200 in free bets instantly. Thursday night is almost here. If you want more action for opening night kickoff, everyone can experience the thrill of the early win promotion. You get up 7 and you win. Bet on any pro football team of your choice. And if your team leads by 7 points at any point during the game, you get paid instantly. There are all kinds of ways to win money with DraftKings. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code KCSN to get $200 free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on anything. That is code KCSN only at DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. 21 years and older. Physically present in Kansas. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus issued as free bets. 1 early win token issued at Opt-in. Moneyline bets only. Deposit and wagering restrictions apply. Eligibility and terms at DraftKings.com/Kansas on behalf of the Boot Hill Resort and Casino. Whew.
Hopefully everyone listening has already placed their bets on Luther Burden's over for his touchdowns on the year, because Buddy's already got 2. In the opening day, he's got 2, and they still can't throw him the football. So, listen.
He's so good.
Under receiving yards, over touchdowns for Luther Burden on the year. That is my betting advice for this show.
Get it in right now. Lock that in. Let's get it started here. Matt K asks, which game will Patrick Mahomes count to the number 8 on his fingers, Matthew? Number 8 in the NFL top 100. Last time this happened.
I would have to see everybody ahead of him, right? Like, I would have to see who who is all in front of Mike. Didn't really pay
Tom Brady's ahead of him.
Yeah, he plays the Buccaneers, right? We play the Buccaneers this year?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, they do. So that's obviously an option. Yeah, I guess that's the lead candidate. Yeah, Tom Brady did finish number 1. I don't know if he would do it to Tom, though. I feel like there's probably like a handful of guys he wouldn't do it to, and Tom might be one of them. Not that he's scared or anything, just like out of a mutual respect kind of thing. It's like, I don't know, one of those random defensive players that they put ahead of him for no reason.
You think he'd do it to Aaron Donald? Or do you think Aaron Donald might rip off like Andrew Wiley's helmet and beat Patrick over the head with it?
Is Aaron Donald going to be allowed on a football field then?
I don't know, man.
Cooper Kupp's ahead of him. Cooper Kupp's, I'm pretty sure, ahead of him. True. So the Rams could be an option. I'd be pretty slighted if Cooper Kupp was ahead of me in a top 100 thing. Like, good receiver, yeah.
Maybe there. All right. Jacob M., would you want to see the Kansas City Chiefs in Hard Knocks one year? Or is it too big of a distraction? Man, it's tough. I don't know that I'd want to see them in the in-season one, and that seems to be the one that they typically pick teams that are good. and that's the one that I don't think that I'd want to see them in. The kind of week-to-week stuff. I mean, the Chiefs do a pretty good job with the franchise of keeping the things close to the vest that they want to keep close to the vest, and I just don't need any of that extra stuff during the season that's going to be floating around there. During training camp, sure, why not? Andy Reid's training camps are fun. Like, that's a fun time. I like getting to know those guys. Not that the franchise doesn't do a good job as well, but like some of that unfiltered, uncensored stuff could be fun. I'd certainly be on board. I don't think it would be too big of a distraction.
I don't need to see it, but it would be fine. I don't think it'd be too big of a distraction, but I can tell you what, if Andy Reid has any say, it ain't happening. If it's up to Andy, it is not happening.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. All right, Julian K. Karloftis Stan. First of a couple food questions in here. Not a question, but power rank the national pizza chains. And he suggested, Domino's, Pizza Hut, Papa John's, Little Caesars, CC. This is tough for me because I don't eat a lot of chain pizza. Okay. I don't know. I might have to lay this one at your feet, Maddie. I don't know how much you do as well.
I can do this. Here's the thing, right? CC's I guess CC's Pizza Street, for those local to like the Kansas City area, know Pizza Street. CC's is number 2, right? They're a hard 2 because a pizza buffet, like, right? You can't go wrong with the pizza buffet. I don't care if the pizza's not good. It's a pizza buffet. Multiple options all ready for you. You can go see how many pieces of pizza you can throw down. So it's clearly number 2. Little Caesars is last. I don't know how many we're ranking. Little Caesars is last. I can take that back. Second to last. Emos or any version of Provel cheese is dead last by so gosh darn far that it's not even on the same ranking system. Pizza Hut barely above Caesars, Domino's slightly above Pizza Hut. Papa John's is number 1 for one reason only: the garlic dipping sauce that comes with it. Just the garlic dip, because I don't care about your pizza. Your pizza's not that good, but you give me that garlic dipping sauce, I would eat a shoe.
Okay. Oh man, I know what we're doing after Macadoodles. All right. Kay Gumminger, our pal. Congratulations, Christian. Not only for joining KCSN, but also on the upcoming baby number 2. Ooh, congratulations, buddy.
Congrats, buddy.
Yeah. So who's inactive on game day? He asks. Man, that's a tough question, because I think some of the guys that we thought were, sort of bottom of the roster guys are on the practice squad right now. Like, you could have convinced me that Elijah Lee might be an inactive in some scenarios where they had other guys that they wanted to call up for teams. So it's a tough one for me. I was very confident in my Darius Harris is going to be on the active roster all season long, and then they kind of did the 53, and now I'm like, well, maybe Darius isn't going to be on the active rod. I don't know. I think a tight end. I think an offensive lineman or two. I think we're going to see a running back inactive every week. I do. I don't think that they're going, and I think it'll rotate. I
Mm,
really do. I think that they're going to play
mm.
situational football with that. We'll get into that with another question coming up here. But Maddie, any suggestions on your end?
I I don't have any off the top of my head. I mean, like, I think all the wide receivers are going to be active.
I think
So
so too.
like that's a weird position that usually you would find somebody. Are they going to be deciding between Joshua Williams and Jalen Watson to be inactive every week? You kind of feel like
Oh,
one of them has to be inactive, right? 10
probably.
active DBs is a lot. I don't think you're going to take out Cook or Bush due to their special teams value and their one
Mhm.
injury removed from having to be there. So once Fitton is back, Joshua Williams or Jalen Watson might be inactive, and I don't like that. You can inactive Kano and Herring. Both of them can be inactive. I
Yeah,
don't think it matters.
you're definitely getting at least one on the defensive line. You might get a couple,
Right.
depending on the
Right. So I mean,
situation
like
here.
those are some options. I am more interested to see if it stays stable or not. Like, is it a
Mhm.
week to week thing? Is it going to stay stable and just like how all that plays out?
This kind of leans into this next question from Grayson here. How many games is Ronald Jones active for? And I actually said this the other day on Jason Anderson's show and Josh Briscoe on 810. I think we're going to see some swapping of these guys depending on what it is. And I realize that I'm banking on something that I'd hoped they'd do last year and they didn't. But let's say you're playing against a defensive line that's maybe a little lighter or something like that, that's not, able to move as well, whatever the case may be. You're going to see lots of different types of defensive line. I think certain running backs are going to come in based on the type of stuff that they're going to call in that game. If it's going to be more of a gap or power game, maybe you have a little more Rojo. If there's going to be more outside zone, maybe you have a little more Rojo. If it's going to be more inside zone duo, maybe you keep Pacheco active and you have him, and you're going to lean on Clyde a lot more on the early downs in those scenarios. So I think that it might be one of those that is going to be game dependent a little bit. And I mean, I know I'm putting a lot on there. That's a hope more than it's an I actually believe Andy's going to do that, but I could see him doing that, and I could see that being the reason why they kept Ronald Jones throughout all of this, because we know he's not paying on passing downs. So you got to have certain scenarios where you feel comfortable with him running the ball. Maybe it's just a situational thing depending on who they're playing.
I think I I might be reading too much into it, but I think the Chiefs go ahead and giving that final preseason game and giving Ronald Jones a bunch of gap schemed carries tells you that there might be a little bit of a plan to go that way once the regular season starts, or at least there is matchups, whether it's against, certain 3-4 teams or certain defensive fronts where they like that game plan. I think if that's the case, Ronald Jones does get active. And I mean, I'm starting to lean. Maybe it is over 50% of the weeks that he's active because he did look good on those. He ran
He
really
looked
well on them.
really
And you
good.
could
Yeah.
you could tell that Andy and Bieniemy they enjoyed how he played those out. I think that might tell you something if they go that route. Now, if we get to week 3 and the Chiefs are still just trying to RPO everybody to death and run inside and outside zone, there's zero reason for Ronald Jones to ever be active. Those aren't his runs. I don't get the need for him on those. So, like, I think it kind of depends on the route they go. Right now I'm going to choose to be an optimist, and they are going to run more gap stuff, more power stuff, and I think Ronald Jones makes some sense there.
This is how we get our hearts broken again, Maddie. This is exactly how we get our hearts broken again. All right, Mike Denny, who is more likely to try and build a Mahomes like deal with their team, Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert?
Two of the cheapest franchises in the NFL. Nice. Um, I guess the Bengals, because they haven't had somebody of that level in ever. Um, The Chargers, I know Chiefs fans love to hate Phillip Rivers, but Phillip Rivers, borderline Hall of Fame quarterback. He's
Very good
really,
quarterback.
really good, and he got paid a lot of money, but it was never a Patrick Mahomes type of deal. They did just kind of do this similar type thing. Herbert will always get a lot of money. I just don't know if it'll be like the Mahomes in terms of length. I think the Cincinnati Bengals, this hometown, we pay nobody. We are this small, tiny organization, is more likely to try to lock up old Joe Cool forever. And I mean, you can already see they've hard branded around Joe Burrow
Oh,
and his
yeah.
personality. There's a lot there. Herbert, I think, is really good. He's better, but I don't know if they've really gone around branding around his personality yet. And for the Chargers, and not does anybody care about the Chargers? I don't know.
I mean, yeah, Cincinnati has diehard fans. I mean, they really do, and that's going to be the face of their franchise for the next decade, as long as he's healthy. And they're doing a good job of trying to build things around him to protect him a little bit better. If he has another season, a good season next year, yeah, you lock him in as long as you can. Absolutely, as long as you can. I think that he might be the kind of guy that is cool with that. And not that Justin Herbert wouldn't be cool with all of that stuff. It just feels like the dynamics between the Chargers, the way that they handle things, and Justin Herbert is just going to want to be top of the market. And he should be. Don't get me wrong. He should absolutely be at the top of the market, but just feels like one of those things where it'll be like it'll be a 5-year deal that's closer to a 3-year deal. Whereas I could see maybe Joe Burrow signing like a 7 or 8-year deal that looks closer to a 7 or 8-year deal. So yeah, I'm with Maddie there. All right. Lee87 asks, what would you say are your top 3 accomplishments in your life so far? And 3 things that you want to add to that list in your life. Man. That's tough because I didn't think about this too terribly much here. That obviously being a father, being a a loving husband, getting to develop things with my friend. I mean, this is a major accomplishment in my life that I love that I get to do this with you guys. Like it's awesome. Like I mean, those probably 3 things right there. I know those are cheesy, but like it's the truth. Those are the things that come to mind first. But Maddie, how about you, man?
Those are kind of the same with me. Like, I mean, finding a significant other that I think makes me a much better person, has helped me grow so much in my life. Being a father to 2 wonderful children right now that, I love the way they're growing up and getting to be there and be part of their life and bring that to them. And then, yeah, it's kind of cheesy. And like, I hate to completely piggyback off of Craig, but this is kind of like what it is to me. Like, this is what matters the most to me is I get to spend, a lot of my professional career here doing something I love, watching football and talking to people about football with a group of people that I love and enjoy. And they're some of my best friends. So that's awesome. Not everybody gets to say that, like, they get paid to hang out with their friends and partake in a hobby. So like, that's really, really cool stuff I want to do. I mean, like, it's still a lot of kind of corny stuff. Like, I would like to continue to see KCS and grow. I think it's really cool that you guys are helping us with this. I mean, you guys are the reason this works,
Big way.
but getting to grow something, start a company with your friends about something you love and watch it grow, and just so much of the cool stuff that's sitting there in the pipeline that we got coming your guys' way is on there. If I ever got the chance, would love to climb Mount Everest. I would love to go to the top. I'm not afraid of how many people die. I would try it. I would do it. It's on the bucket list. It'll probably never happen. Like, I don't know if I will ever actually go through with getting out there, but it's on the list. And one other thing I want to accomplish, convincing Kent Swanson to play me in basketball so we can put an end to this long running. It's not even a debate. Just, we can put an end to this once and for all.
See, what's going to happen is I'm just going to walk around with a basketball goal the entire time that you're around the next time, and that's going to be what it is. You can just dunk on him repeatedly with the basketball goal. Plus, you can come hike Long's Peak with me in Colorado. It's a 14. It's not an Everest, but like it's a natural progression through that. That's one of the.
Can we bring the basketball goal to the top and dunk on Kent there?
Oh yes, Kent. You think
Kent ain't getting to the top? I
know.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon W says KCSM became the Monstars. Which NBA player would you steal abilities from? I mean, LeBron, like, that's
I
easy.
think
Like,
that's a pretty
come on now.
simple one, right?
Yeah.
You can I mean, like, you're gonna be, God, what, like 40 years old right now and still just like I mean, you're not like the best player in the NBA anymore, but you're not that far removed.
I was gonna say,
And
you're in the top tier. Yeah.
you're a freight train 24/7.
I mean,
Um, Giannis is up there, I think, because he does. I mean,
mm,
Greek freak is very realistic. Like he is a freakish athlete. So like even beyond being basketball, it's a good one. Um, Purely like on the basketball court, I love Anthony Edwards' game. So like that'd be a fun one, but that's not how I play. So I don't necessarily resonate to try to play like that. Jimmy Butler would be another one. I just like watching him play, and I like the tenacity, I guess. Like there's just some guys, but I mean, I think LeBron's the right answer here.
yeah. All right. Zach, some interacts. What kind of a toast do you think Brett Veach and Clark Hunt share
Rye.
every time? Every time another quarterback signs a mega deal. I mean, I it every time it happens, we always say it, but it's true. Like I think he's what seventh in A or fifth in AAV right now, annual average value, and Justin Herbert and Lamar are getting paid next year. You got Joe Burrow coming behind that as well. He could theoretically be outside of the top 7 quarterbacks in annual contract value next year. Like, I mean, my goodness. Like, at this point, and you got him locked up for like another 8, 9 years. Like, good. I mean, they have to be just over the moon with the fact that they were able to get this done. And I am over the moon that Patrick Mahomes has so many endorsement deals that are going to prevent him from being like, yo, let's put me back at number 1 now, please. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's just like I'm sure. I bet they don't talk about it. I bet there is no toast. I bet they literally, as soon as they read that, they run as far away from each other as they possibly can because they don't want to happen to be caught in the same room with each other when this happens. Like by Patrick or somebody who's like, "Hey, let's get a new deal going. Look at this." Like that. No, no,
mhm.
no. They hide from everybody when they see this happen because they know what kind of deal they have.
Fish asks, I haven't seen much about Matt Nagy through the offseason, but besides his press conference, how much of an impact do you think he's had on some of the changes the Chiefs offense is making so far, Maddie?
Hopefully none, because the Chicago Bears offense was really, really bad.
Let's rewind back to what he did in Kansas City before that. How about that?
I don't know. I think there's a reason that you haven't seen much Matt Nagy. I think, for a lack of a better phrase, I think he's kind of hiding out from the dumpster fire that was Chicago. I think he is trying to not be super public. I think he is trying not to be out in the front of everything. And I mean, like, after all, he is a QB coach, right? Like, how
Mhm.
often do you really anticipate hearing from your quarterback's coach? He's just a high profile one right now. So I don't know. I don't know what kind of impact he's going to have. I don't know how much is there. I am hoping that it's going to really, get to more play action passing. I'm hoping it's going to get to Mahomes. So this is the thing I get torn with, and I guess as a side rant, when Patrick Mahomes came out in a recent, I think it was with the Ringer. He talked about how in that Cincinnati Bengals second half, it wasn't that they did anything different. They were calling the same plays that were working. He said he just started playing safe. He started doing what Chiefs fans want him to do, taking these checkdowns and never trying to push the ball downfield. He was just always trying to take what was there and play it safe. And it was kind of throwing off his game and the rhythm. And so on one hand, you almost want to come in and say, hey, I want Matt Nagy to come in and help Patrick not always try to push the ball downfield because we know that's an issue. But on the other, when they've played their worst football, I think it's when you've had Patrick Mahomes purposely trying to play scared, trying to play safe. I don't know if that's what you want. So if that's what Matt Nagy's doing, I don't know if I'm happy about it. So I don't know what his impact is going to be on this team right now. If he's not designing the play action game that was a lot better when he was in Kansas City, I don't know what I'm necessarily banging the drum for him to get to do, which is why they should have hired Liam Cohen anyway.
I'm wondering if we're going to see Matt Nagy's true influence about week 8, week 9. Seems like, Andy's going to start hot. I don't want that to change. Let Andy do his thing at the beginning of the season. And being me, I don't want to discredit anything that he brings to the table either. Those two guys know how to start hot. There just always seems to be a little bit of a lull. And if there's going to be a lull, have Matt Nagy step in. Have him be another voice in the room to adjust, bring things together while Andy and Bieniemy or just Andy or whoever it is kind of shoring up things in the back part of the year leading up to the playoffs. Maybe it'll just add a little more consistency to the room a little bit. Small tweaks throughout the season. I don't know that we're going to see drastic ones. So it'll be curious. I mean, man, fun year because I have no idea. I really do have no idea. And for the past several years, we've had a pretty clear, defined idea of how things are going to go. So yeah, it'll be interesting here. Tucker's burner account asks, "What's the best pie? Key lime. Period."
Ooh, key lime pie is pretty good. Am I gonna have anything to push back with? I
See,
don't
you
think
can't.
so.
It's like literally like one of the only desserts that I will eat. And so
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I get it. I agree. I will counter. It's basic, but it
Sure.
doesn't matter. A really good apple pie, hot apple pie with a scoop of ice cream on it. You get the cold, you get the hot mixing. You have someone that knows how to get a good crust on there. They have the right blend of spices and cinnamon in this apple pie. Whew, I don't know. It's tough to beat. Here's the thing. I didn't like pies when I was a kid. I didn't like the texture of like warm fruit. It just wasn't for me. I didn't like it for a long time as a kid. I don't know what age I decided like, okay, I'm going to give pie a try again. I tried some kind of fruit pie. I don't think it was cherry, maybe blackberry or something. I was like, uh-oh, we are in trouble. Cheesecake is now going to get its run for its money for like the best dessert. A good warm pie with some cold ice cream it's top tier dessert.
JL asks, "What was your first I'm getting old moment?" Matt. Hey,
Never had
Matt.
one. Not old. I'm a youth.
Yeah,
Pliable,
that's right.
quick, fast,
Pliable.
flexible, all of the above. That is me. Will never get old.
I think I feel like I've always been old. Like, I feel like my body's been breaking down forever. So always, yeah. I don't know, playing sports or something like that, and having like a knee injury that just wouldn't go away. Like one of those where you wake up in the morning, you're like, "What happened? Oh, that's right, I sat wrong, and now my knee hurts. How does that work?" But it does.
I do everyone. Having to like put energy or effort in for me to like to dunk a basketball. Like I actually have to think and like plan my steps and like think about reaching and dunking. And like I can't just like walk up and do it whenever I want. Like I have to actually be like actively thinking about it. I can't just be done with a leg day the day before with super sore legs or something. Like just the inability to dunk anytime I want is definitely up there because I tried to like show off for my daughter the other day when I did it. And like it was like stuffed on the side of the rim. And I was like, uh-oh. So like I of course like had to make sure I could still do it, and I could, but I have to pay attention now. And I'm like, yikes, this is a problem.
Yeah, so you gotta get your springs back in your legs. That way we can have two people on our 3-on-3 team that can dunk for this KC Sports, 3-on-3 turn. Love how much everybody wants to talk about it. And I'm just looking at the length on this team and I'm going, good luck. Have fun with that. Yeah.
Bunch of 5'9" people out here thinking they're gonna. Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna trash our fellow friends in the KC media world, but all of you listening, clip this right here. I'm in Kansas City, October 14th through October 17th. It is an open invitation, 3-on-3 basketball tournament. Anybody that wants a shot at the KCSN team, let us know. Clip this, send this to anybody you guys want to. October 14th through 17th. Open invite tourney on a street court.
I am in for one play for certain. I got one in me.
That's all we'll need to win, really.
All right. Casey from KC, what aspects of the defense are ahead of schedule from your viewpoint? Are there any aspects behind? The secondary's way ahead of schedule in my mind. I mean, with all those rookies, young players, new players, I figured that this team was going to have a lot of discrepancies, a lot of blown coverages, a lot of things like that with the first team. We saw some with the second team. That's to be expected. But with the first team, I expected there was going to be a lot of aspects that weren't up to speed in the secondary, but they look good. They look way ahead of what I thought the schedule was going to be. And then behind, I don't know that I have a behind. I I don't know. It's like all depth stuff, and everything's a little further along than I thought. But maybe that speaks to the bar that I had kind of set anything. Do you have something behind Manny?
Okay. So what is ahead is a linebacker group. I think Nick
Oh
Bolton's
yeah.
actually hit the ground running pretty well in terms of being a Mike, and he always looked better himself when playing Mike than he did when he was playing Will last year. But it seems like everyone's playing off of him better. And then Willie Gay looks like he is on the verge of making that jump we all want him to make. And Leo Chanel's role is limited right now that we've seen, but he's good at it. And Elijah Lee is competent in his role, and he's a better third linebacker, an equal third linebacker to what they've had before.
Mhm.
So I think the linebacker group, despite being some younger or some newer guys, I think is ahead of schedule. I'm with Craig. I don't know if I have a behind schedule. I guess like my biggest concern, I still don't love how these Chiefs corners play the ball in the air. Like that's still something they
Yeah.
haven't fixed. Adding in Trent McDuffie, a smaller, stubbier, shorter limbed corner probably doesn't help that. It's like it's a very specific thing, but I don't see why a team would not challenge Rashad Fenton, Jerry Sneed, and Trent McDuffie on YOLO balls all year long. I don't know if Justin Reed and Juan Thornhill have done enough at the NFL level to deter teams to think that they are going to outrange the throw and go make plays on a lot of passes. So like it's just, I'm a little worried about the vertical pass attack, no matter how good the coverage is, because that's been a weakness for the Chiefs team for a while.
All right, Andy Nagel asks, what new player, rookie or free agent on both sides of the ball will be the MVP of new players? On offense, I'm going Juju. On
What?
defense, ooh, I'm going Justin Reed. I know we've showered praise on him. I'm seeing a lot of national media guys that are showering praise on him as well. It seems like everybody's kind of course correcting a little bit. There was a lot of, oh, what are they going to do without Tyrann Mathieu? Yeah, they signed Reed, but what are they going to do without Mathieu? And then I think people went and watched more Justin Reed and went, oh, okay, that's what they're going to do without Tyrann Mathieu. So yeah, I think Justin Reed will be that guy on the defense.
Yeah, probably. I mean, like, it's hard to argue against that when you're looking at this team. I mean, like, I think George Karlaftis being great maybe means a little bit more than Justin Reed being great. Like we've seen this defense with great safety play, and Reed will do it differently than Tyrann Mathieu, but we've still seen kind of the end result of a great player there. We haven't seen what this particular defense looks like if they have a great defensive end, specifically another one to pair with Chris Jones and across from Frank Clark. So if you get a Nick Bosa level rookie performance out
Ooh.
of George Karlaftis, which is not expected. But if you get
Mhm.
that level, that clearly matters, right? And like, so I think that would probably mean more than what Justin Reed would mean more if you got to that point.
Rugby Fox. Now that we have the initial 53, what are the biggest weaknesses of the offense and defense in your eyes? Matty, I'll let you take this one first.
Still the offensive line. Andrew Wiley has done nothing but disappoint me. I think I accidentally got my hopes up too high when I heard him talk about how he finally got to spend an offseason just training at tackle and not at both. And I'm like, oh, you were fine last year. You were, 64 tackles started in the NFL. You were probably around 50th, maybe a little bit lower, but like you weren't the worst, but you were still like in the middle of the pack of the second tackle starting for teams. I thought having a whole year off just to play tackle, it would look better than it has. Don't love what I've seen. Still, the right tackle's a concern. The Chiefs' offensive line has this weird issue where one guy seems to lose too frequently, whether it's Trey Smith, whether it's Creed. Tooney doesn't really lose. Orlando Brown Jr., one of these guys is just losing too often. So then when you have a glaring weakness like what Wiley's look like to me, and then you have three other guys that are losing, one out of every 6 plays, it just gets a little bit worrisome. So offensively, I think my biggest worry is still the offensive line. Defensively, it's just communication. It's not a position group, just communication. What's it going to look like when real bullets start flying and Steve Spagnuolo is not hand-picking specific plays they worked on all week long and it becomes everything? What's that communication look like?
Yeah, and defense is still the pass rush. It's got to get home. The pass rush last year with 4 was terrible. Now, Steve Spagnuolo did a good job of fabricating that, and their pressure rate was very high for the season, and he can still do that. But that man wants to win with 4, especially with rookie corners and rookie, safeties and new players in the secondary. That helps with the communication when you can drop that many guys into coverage. So it's the pass rush until I see it happen in a regular season game. I'm gonna be skeptical of all of that. So, and then on offense, I was gonna say tackle, but I'll say running back. They don't have a guy that I trust to carry the load all 3 downs. They don't have a guy that can be a little bit more of a workhorse, and they don't have a guy that I don't see teams scared of anybody in this backfield. And that's one of the reasons why teams are so comfortable playing too high. They're not terrified of not just Andy Reid or Patrick Mahomes not handing the ball off because they're running RPOs all the time and throwing the ball all over the yard, but also because they don't have a guy that when they do hand it off into light boxes is going to make teams pay as much as somebody else might. So they've brought in a lot of guys. There's a healthy rotation. It's not a bad approach by any means, but if I had to pick a spot, that's a spot that I'd like a guy to be a little more solid than it is right now. All right. Brennan McNichol says he's a new girl dad here. What is the most recommended outing / hike / fun event that you've had with your daughter? Maddie, this goes for you as well. We both have daughters about the same age. We do a lot of hiking in my family. We go to Colorado every single year. My daughter loves to hike. Love hiking with her. Going to the zoo. Love playing in the park. Just love hanging out with her when she colors, when she does all that stuff. As it is not even a girl thing. It's an any kid thing. Just be present. Just be a part of it and try new things, try new experiences. And then when they latch onto something, help cultivate that. Like that's the part that's most important about all of it. As fun as it is to have her want to go hiking with me, because I love to do that. Like I also, you want to do things that they love to do as well and try and cultivate that and grow that and help them advance as human beings, because that's the most important thing of all.
Yeah, all those things. I think that's the crux of it. Like just some other specifics that we've done. My daughter loves. We started recently doing horseback riding, and she
Ooh.
absolutely loves it. And it's really fun to just watch her and how excited she gets to go do that. So that's one of them. I wish I knew how to ride. I'm not scared to do it or anything, but like if I knew how to ride before in my life and I wouldn't have to be learning right now to get to do that with her, I think would be a lot of fun. Don't be scared just because it is, you have a girl and you are a, girl dad. Don't be scared to introduce her to things that you like to do that you might not think traditionally of as a girl thing. If you want to go to a football game when she's a little bit older and, teach her about the sport or watch it or whatever, at least invite her to do it. Give her the option because she might like it. And that time where she's asking you questions and you're getting to explain something that you care about, she will pick up on it. It's like, just, don't get stuck in like traditional ideas of what can or can't be for certain people, is regardless of what it is, spending time is the key. And yeah, I just see too many people, I think, try to force it to be only girl stuff or only boy stuff for certain people. No, just open it up. And if they don't like it, don't make them do it. If they do like it, keep doing it regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. And when they show interest in podcasting, tell them no. No.
Yeah, when you get asked to help them make a YouTube video, like their favorite YouTube toy playing person, be like, nah, we don't have a camera.
Yeah. But Dad, you record something. Nah,
Nope.
no.
False.
No. Just undo everything we just said, all the positive stuff there. All right. Positive and Toasty. How many days without showering would you be okay with? Man, okay with is tough, because when you have small children and you're not sleeping, especially as much as little as our second kid did, like you just become okay with a lot of things. Like ideally, I like to shower every day. That does not happen. And so it's tough. Maybe 3 days. By that point, I'm just like, man, I gotta do something about this. I don't know, Maddie. I'm a daily shower if I can get away with it.
One max. I don't get into bed dirty. I don't. I'm a night shower. Kent and I have done this.
Again, that's right.
But like, okay, so like, I think it depends on what you do. If you get to stay in air conditioning and you don't sweat all day and you don't like do anything to get dirty and you maybe want to go a couple days, like fine, whatever. I've never done that. I legitimately just have never been in that situation. So I don't know. Between working out and then like being out on the farm and then having like kids, I'm constantly covered in just disgust. And I do not want to get into bed with that disgust on me. So no, like one day, no more than 24 hours. I'm getting in the shower. I'm going to do it. I will go hose off with the garden hose, even if it's the winter. Like I will do something. I know.
I like this question a lot. Mike Denny asks, if every team loses all of their starters in the NFL, how does the AFC West shake out this season? Basically, you're testing your depth there. I've looked at some of these. I actually like and I know this is going to sound very homerish. I actually like the Chiefs' depth, the youth there, and their ability to do stuff. Like I trust Chad Henne over some of the other backups in the league there and in the division. It gets pretty sparse in a hurry, especially like the Broncos, the Raiders. Like they get super sparse in a hurry. The Chargers at least have some guys on paper, but even then, I don't trust them to consistently put it together.
Well, the Chargers are used to playing. Those backups are very used
That's true. They are used to playing those backups, but like we saw what Brandon Staley did with not his guys on defense. Now all of a sudden you're putting super not his guys on defense. Like I trust Spagnuolo to get more, adapt the scheme to get more out of his guys than Staley does playing, his Fangio style defense with people that aren't the guys that need to play. So I don't know.
I just quickly perused the backup quarterbacks, so I was just going to go with the best quarterback, and Chase Daniel is on the Chargers. So I mean, look out, Chiefs, buddy. But the Chiefs can do something. 2 QB offense because they're keeping a third for absolutely no gosh darn reason. And Shane Buechele.
Shane Buechele is running the ball. That's what's happening. Shane Buechele is running the ball. Jody Fortson, 10 TD season. Easy 10 TD season. Sky Moore, Justin Watson, racking up stuff. Like I can see this offense still being semi-functional. I can. I really can. All right. Chiefs fan Tyler, who do you think is the first person called up from the practice squad after Elijah Lee, excluding Elijah Lee?
Danny Shelton. He's not on the practice squad, is he?
I think
he did make the practice squad. Yeah.
I think he's gonna be
No, I think it'll be him. For this, I mean, like if we're playing the numbers, there's only one injury in which then they have to have Danny Shelton. They have to. A lot of other guys, you don't have to call them up with just a singular injury. On top of that, I don't know if I anticipate Kando and Herring both sticking on the 53 for a long period of time, or one of them not going to the IR. I think that opens up a spot. I think Danny Shelton. I mean, you can make a case for Stallworth, I guess, but I'm gonna lean Shelton right now.
I was gonna say Stallworth. Stallworth was gonna be my guy. I think they're committing to more of a penetrative defensive line this year because they got Derek Nottie and then a bunch of guys that are best shooting singular gaps. So with Taylor Stallworth. So if one of those guys like Colin Saunders gets dinged up or, Turk Wharton gets dinged up, Taylor Stallworth is a natural guy to just kind of step in and play kind of the same way. So I was going to pick him. All right. Let's see here. Leighton Y44. Would you have done something different with the practice squad if you were in charge, Maddie?
Yes. Sit back and get ready for this. I would never put more than like 2 of my own players that I didn't think were good enough for my 53-man roster on my practice squad. 2, 3 guys tops. 2 to 3 guys that I call up an emergency because they know what they're doing for my team. I'm getting all other guys for my practice squad because these guys weren't good enough. Like, look at the Chiefs. Look at any team's final 3 roster spots. Those guys aren't good football players. They're bad football players. For the NFL standards, they're bad football players. That's why their roster spots 50 through 53. You're saying that my practice squad wasn't even good enough to take their jobs. Why would I want my same guys that I said weren't good enough to take those jobs? I would go get 14 people from other teams, see what they look like in my system with my coaching in person to see if they are better than those 3 guys final on my roster spot. I'll keep a couple guys around, maybe an offensive lineman, a defensive lineman, and a secondary player or something, guys that might know the system if there's an injury and need to jump in. But that's it. The rest of them are just new blood because these other guys that weren't good enough, what use do I have for them?
I mean, they know the scheme. You've invested some time. There's the argument there, but
be better.
What I would have done different, being as into the draft as we are, I have a lot of favorite players that are just kind of floating around after cut downs, and I would just collect all of them, as many of them as possible. I'd just be like, well, yes, I will have an Ali Fayyad and a Garrett Prince and these guys like that. Just try and bring in new blood. It would be largely rookies coming in to do that. Now I realize that's probably not the best way to do it, because if you got to count on those guys, you're like, oh, well, that didn't work out, and then you're in trouble. But I, I don't know. I would take more swings on more guys that maybe I liked as, day 3 guys or UDFA guys. Try and bring them in to get a look at them. I'd use it as kind of like a secondary draft process, rather than like Maddie was saying there, rather than keeping a bunch of guys that you picked out on your initial 90, and then you're just like, well, we like them kinda, and then just keeping them on the practice squad there. So, all right, final question here, arguably the most important of the day here, from the big institution's biggest fan: Bulbasaur, Charmander, or Squirtle, Maddie?
I have strong feelings on this, so it's going to be interesting.
Okay.
Squirtle every single time.
Okay. You got a reason behind that? You just a water type fan?
Well, okay, let's break it down. One's a plant, so no. Let's just start. Let's rip off there. He's a plant. He's just a plant. The other one's a turtle that grows into a turtle with guns. Like, that's pretty cool. And so we're talking about, oh, it's a dragon versus a turtle with guns. Well, guess what puts out fire? Turtle with guns. That, and anybody like my age watched the Pokemon cartoon like on TV when it came around, and like Squirtle in that was funny. Like, he's a funny little character, just the Squirtle gang with the sunglasses and all the cool stuff. It was, it was a cool little thing as a kid. But I think I played the game on my Game Boy before the show, before I saw the show, before the show came out. I picked Squirtle then. I would always pick Squirtle every single time. So yeah, Squirtle.
Well, Maddie was wrong yet again. It's clearly Bulbasaur. That's going to do it for 21 questions brought to you by Macadoodles. Thank you so much.
Chubby Lizard.
Us. Stay tuned. We got game week coming up next week. We'll be back next Monday with a live KC Lab at 8 o'clock Central Time.
Toad.
Then.